Welcome everybody. I hope people didn't get too confused. It's 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time because the clocks haven't changed yet. But welcome guys. I'm joined by my buddy Red, and really we wanted to just chat through a few things, but I wanted to cover the magnitude of what's actually happened and where we are today, because quite honestly, the vast majority of people I'm still getting questions don't seem to realize exactly what we've been able to achieve by simply getting the OES back up and running. What you have to understand is that having used Amazon Web Services cloud hosting, it's the same thing almost as having a Mac computer and a Microsoft computer and trying to get the data from the Mac back onto Microsoft. They're not kind of compatible. So what they've done and what they've had to do is to take all this data back and reshuffle things and play with things. So to get the OES back up and running is great. Now, not all of the information is there, as we know, and there are some glitches with it. We know that too. And my thought process, and I'm sure Red is in agreement here, is that now they've got the information back, they had the foundation already built. So it's really a case of, okay, well, let's put that to one side for the moment. And what we're going to do is create a whole new platform. It's a possibility, so don't quote me on it, but it's a possibility. And use the foundation that they had to simply create something new, rather than try and amalgamate these two systems that don't necessarily or aren't necessarily compatible. So, you know, to get to the stage that we've got to is well, let's put it this way, 99.9% of companies that get to the stage that we are at would have closed, because they just simply wouldn't have been able to cope with this transition and have gone, do you know what, we're giving up. So where we are right now is a coup. Without a shadow of a doubt, it's a coup. And to see that the company are continuing to move forward is absolutely phenomenal, and a lot of people still don't get that. So what are your thoughts, Red?
My thoughts are quite honestly, I think we are very lucky to have our data and information back. Really, for the amount of sabotage that was happening behind the scenes, which we haven't got details about, but we've certainly been given a very strong inkling from our CEO. No names have been named, but it's been very apparent that there has been some internal sabotaging going on, and for us to be able to recover this information has been nothing short of amazing. Just to get to this stage, I mean, we could have woken up one morning and the whole lot had gone, and we would literally have had nothing. And having the OES back in its state at the moment is, as Andy said, a big coup. Now, we do need to realise this, and I've said it from word go, that the OES, in my opinion, is just a holding area. Okay, it is going to be a place where they give us information for us to be moving into the next phase. When this is going to happen, we don't know, obviously. But they are working on things. Even today, the logout button was working very, very quickly this afternoon in my area. Tanya mentioned it to me. I checked on both my devices and it was working very, very quickly. I've just checked again now, and guess what? It's not working, but that doesn't mean to say that it's not working for you in your area. But what it does mean is they are working in certain places within the OES. And this is something that is good news to bring to you, that there is a little bit of movement. Now, I was talking today about listening and the reasons behind it. For me, that is important. we are not naive. The likes of me, Andy, Marty, Chris, Comfort and Collins, and many people who speak on a regular basis about Onpassive, either through social media or through YouTube or other mediums. We're not ignorant to the fact of what people say and their concerns. I mean, it is natural that people do have concerns and they voice them. But one thing I will say is that you can be concerned in a positive way, not be concerned in a negative way. Now, unfortunately, a lot of people are becoming very, very more anxious, frustrated with this waiting period that we're in at the moment, to the extent of either walking away from Onpassive or even worse, jumping on the bandwagon of name calling and negativity. If you want to have clarification about Onpassive and what our desire of our CEO is, just go back into your OES and click the updates section, okay, and reread those two pop-ups, specifically the end parts of what Ash Mufareh has said. He has always maintained, he has always been extremely clear about he doesn't take lip service of anybody's opinions of how quickly things should happen, all the rest of it. That is none of his concern. His concern is to make sure that we, and well, say he, delivers the best possible scenario of products, services, platforms, etc., that he possibly can. Time elements mean nothing to him. You either believe in the journey and what we are trying to do in Onpassive, or you don't. That is him through and through. If by the time we get to launch there's 10 people left, he'd take that, because he knows he's got what he wants and what he's happy with. He has always invited us along with him on this journey. He's never promised any timelines. He's given us indications of when things might be available, for sure. But how many times have we all said behind the scenes and in public that some things are out of his control? And some things he was told that didn't come to fruition because people were certainly hiding information behind the scenes of their inability to produce what they said they could do. So are we lucky to be where we are at the moment, to have the OES functioning like it is? Yeah, we are. Would it be nicer to have more operating areas in there? Of course it would be. But at the end of the day, we are coming back. We are going to move on to the next phase, and that is what we need to focus on. And that is a very important thing to keep hold of. What is your goal? What is what you are doing in Onpassive all about? Where is it you want to be because of Onpassive? That's what you need to be keeping hold of. That is what you need to be focusing on. This waiting period will go. It will be a distant memory in the background. It will be part of your journey that you have done in Onpassive. You will be able to talk about, remember when we had to wait and all the rest of it, and, you know, sitting on a beach, soaking up the sun, drinking whatever you want to be drinking, talking to your fellow founders all about it. It is part of your journey. Just remember, stay focused on your goals and everything will be fine. Back to you, Andy.
Thanks, Red. I think that's an important point. And I actually feel sorry for a lot of these people that are going to eventually come into Onpassive when we go back to the market and start their journey. Now, these guys are going to be making money, but they will not have been on the journey that we have. And they will not have made the relationships that we have. You know, if you think about it, we got friends all around the globe, which is quite an astounding setup, really. But as I said, more importantly, the excitement of what is to come is the bit that I focus on, because we've seen a snippet of what was possible, and yet we know it's going to be better than ever when it comes back. And you know, if that is going to be the case, then every single company that I can think of that uses a video conferencing platform is going to want to use the one that we have, the one that Ash and his team have created. It's value for money. It does exactly what it says on the tin. And there are various different additional extras that the others just don't have. Now, Mark Collins has used this analogy many times before, and I love it because I think it's rather amusing. So a lot of these other companies are building or trying to build a skyscraper on a 2-story house foundation. Not going to happen, guys. Sooner or later, it'll have to fall like a pack of cards, because you can't continue to add bits on and add bits on and add bits on. Sooner or later, it has to collapse. What has been done with Onpassive is create this huge foundation, and from that foundation, you can build what you like on it. So we're going to see millions and millions of companies start to use this product when it comes back out. We know how good it is. We've used it already, and we know it's value for money. But that's just one of over 50 products. You know, what else is in store for us? I'm sure there are lots of things that we still don't know about. And potentially, we've heard of physical products too that could eventually come to market as well. So, you know, for me, this time is the best time really to make sure that you're ready for when it does come, that you've got your ducks in a row, that you've done something and thought about where you want to take your business, because it is your business, not ours, not Red's, not mine. We've got our own plans, and believe me, when it does go to fruition, we're going to be very, very hard to get hold of. Any other thoughts, Red?
I've always got thoughts as far as Onpassive is concerned. You know, you're talking about the other products and all the rest of it. And this is, for me, what the biggest draw is going to be for Onpassive is all in one place. So many different tools and gadgets and bits and pieces that we are going to produce and give to people all in one place, and they can cherry pick what they want or don't want. A lot of people ask me, why do we keep doing what we're doing? Me and Andy on a Tuesday, me on my lives, all the rest. Why do we do this? We do it to hopefully keep everyone together, to reaffirm what Onpassive is all about, reaffirm what they are going to be doing, but more importantly, to keep the group together. I've always maintained that we will be stronger together than we would be individually. If we start fragmenting and doing our own thing, then that's not good for our business. It's not good for the company, and it's certainly not going to get us off to a good start. The more of us that can talk about Onpassive when we get going, the bigger and faster it will grow. Andy said earlier, we've had a good taster, haven't we, of how fast things started moving just over a year ago in September when we launched OConnect. In fact, it was so fast it threw the switch on all sorts of things. But that is a taster of how quickly that we can get going again. And if we stick together now and we keep our resolve and see this through, then I firmly believe that when we get going again, when we are talking with one voice to hundreds of thousands of people across the globe, it is not going to take long before the juggernaut of Onpassive gets going again. And guess what that means? Revenue for all the people who stayed the course. I've mentioned staying the course time and time again. We will be the biggest beneficiaries of what Onpassive is doing, because we will be there on the starting line waiting for the gun to go off. We're not playing catch up. We are out the gate. And this is why, as Andy said, it is so important to utilize your time now to make your lists, to get your things in order, to draw up almost battle lines of where you are going to be going for the benefit of your business, so that you can make the best possible start with the leverage that you can use with the Onpassive products and services. Back to you, Andy.
Thanks, Red. Yeah, I love it. I mean, we have time, and this time for me has been a time of reflection. It's been a time of learning, because everyone knows I'm not technically minded, but I've learned a hell of a lot along the way. And in the background, I'm learning a little bit more about marketing, because I don't know very much, and it's cost me a fortune over the years to try and work away. But and I'm not there yet, I have to say, but I'm learning along the way, and that's really for me a key, because you know, when we do get going, yes, we're going to have the opportunity to get traffic, and it may well be that that's all we're ever going to need. But I'd like to understand and know what else is available, how things work in the background, and how I might be able to leverage that a little bit further, if that's possible. So it's taking the time now to do just that and find potentially another way, if you like, an extra. We know a little bit about the products and we know what's coming. And I've also been kind of researching or looking at the existing products that are available on the market, and kind of weighing up the pros and cons of both of these, or all of these various different products, in comparison to what we've already seen. And personally, the differential between what we have, what we've seen, and what is currently available on the market is, there's a phenomenal difference, as we've well seen. But it's, how do I put that into perspective for potential others? Well, it's simple, because actually I can sit down and go back through my notes and look at some of the videos that we've had using OConnect, and the resources at the bottom, etc., etc., and then compare that to what else is available. Now I've got therefore, if you like, a little sales pitch. Now, I don't intend to use that very often, but I have it in my arsenal. I have something else that I can use if I decide to do so. And this is really where I'm coming from at the end of the day. It's a case of proper prior planning prevents poor performance, as we all well know. So the more I learn, the more I understand. Knowledge is power, guys. So the more we learn, the more we understand, the better the position we'd be in when we do go to market. And believe me, when we do go to market, it's going to be at 100 miles an hour. So any final comments, Red, before we close?
No, as always, stay the course, guys. You know, you owe it to yourselves to see this one through. Onpassive is still here. We haven't gone anywhere. We are still building in the background. Go and look at something else, and I assure you it's not going to be there in a few months' time. We already have known over the last few years of so many other things that have come across founders' ways, and not one of them, and I repeat that again, not one of them is still here now. Every single one that we know about isn't here anymore. So why move away from Onpassive to something that's going to be not as good as Onpassive is going to be? And guess what? It's going to cost you money. That is the one thing that we all need to remember. Has our CEO asked us for any more money? Answer, guys, no. So that in itself tells a massive story, doesn't it? You know, we haven't been asked to come out to help the company in any way financially or anything like that. All we've been asked to do is to believe in the company, stay the course, and we will be absolutely fine. Back to you, Andy.
Thanks, Red. Yeah, I'm sure everybody on today and everybody listening to this will know exactly what Red's talking about with some of the other guys that we've come across in the past that have moved on supposedly to better things. Yes, I'm making money, and then everything goes quiet and they've all closed it down, where we've stuck with this, and like Red said, we've not been asked for another bean. Phenomenal. And we've still got a CEO that comes out and says to us, I'm not giving up, I'm carrying on going, it's going to be better than ever. So stick with it, guys. Thank you for joining us today. We made it a nice short one today. Apologies that Collins couldn't make it. I think he's stuck at work. But we'll see you again next Tuesday. I'm sure I'll drag Red out again. Our mainstay at the moment.
Wheel him out.
Wheel him in, yeah. Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining us. Cheers, Red. See you next week.
Yes, buddy.